and that includes the MMT. You know, when we did the test 3 weeks ago, the hardware was talking to us, so we listened. And as Charlie mentioned, the remediation activities that we took turned out really well. Again, though, it was just another opportunity for us to wring out the system and validate and verify that we've got a good system in place before we put crew on the launch vehicle, the rocket, to go fly on launch day. I thought just kind of I had a little bit of time to reflect on the launch team and the MMT throughout the day, and I really felt like we've all gotten to a place where we want to be relative to how sharp we are and how we operate. You know, you see a lot of times relative to our launch frequency, and so we have to work really hard through training activities for all of us to stay on edge. Teams off looking at the data. I met with some of them this morning. So far, we don't have any indications of anything that we're worried about, but we're just getting started. So we'll go through that and see what the teams come up with and address those as needed. But overall, it was a good day for us. Megan, back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for those opening remarks. It's really great to see how we've learned from wet dress 2 and we had a successful learned from wet dress 1 and we had a successful wet dress 2. All right, so we are now going to invite reporters here in person as well as over the phone to ask their questions. If you're on the phone, remember that you need to press star 1 to get into the queue and then wait for a mic to get to you here. So we'll start over here. Marcia, go ahead.
Marcia Dent, Associated Press. To meet a March 6th launch attempt, when would the flight readiness review need to be held? When would the crew be getting, what other milestones between now and then do you have to be on time for in order to make that first time in March?
I'll speak to the programmatic part of that, and then I'll pass it over to Charlie to talk some of the other big kind of technical things that we have to get done in this time frame. You mentioned the flight readiness review. That's certainly a big one. It is targeted for the end of next week. That should be in plenty of time prior to launch to go through that certification of flight readiness. It is going to be an extensive and detailed review. We are going to go over and comb every aspect of this system. And we'll go through that with our associate administrator, Amit Kshatriya, and I expect our administrator will be paying very close attention as well as we go through that certification process. And then at launch minus 2 days, we hand over responsibility over to John Honeycutt as the MMT chair and as we prepare for the launch readiness. You mentioned the crew. The crew will go into what we call a soft quarantine, or we're calling a soft quarantine, where they're going into quarantine at Johnson Space Center later today, as I mentioned. And then probably at around L-5 days or more, that would be the latest, but it could go a little earlier, they would transition here to Kennedy Space Center to continue their quarantine up until launch. But I'm going to pass it to Charlie, and she can tell you about the big technical milestones that we need to achieve.
Well, really, we just have one big milestone left. We have contingency pad access that we are installing. So we got through our drain operations early this morning, got into inerting. We'll get back into the pad probably somewhere around, what time is it now? Maybe somewhere in the next hour or so. Certainly by the end of first shift today, we should have our teams back in.